when you've been hurt, it takes a little while to feel like in a place to risk that, to put your heart out there again.
We could take care of people. We could make it calm. We could make it delicious. We can make people happy.
I don't want you to hide from things just because you can.
So I wanted to start talking about cousin Richie and Tina's character in season 3, because they, at least in my experience, they seem to represent the everyday people. They found pride in their work, but they're also trying to live their lives. Mm-hmm. I wanted to ask you, as an actor, how do you relate this tension between chasing greatness and living your daily life?
I don't know. Chasing greatness is something that seems like, I don't know, I wouldn't know how I would even begin to sort of do that. That sounds like some kind of like Greek myth of some kind of a thing. I'm just trying to get through the day. I like your kind of singling out Richie and Tina. First of all, they're the only parents in the show. They both have kids. And I think perhaps that imbues both of them with maybe a little bit of a wider understanding of life, Unlike, you got Carmen and Sydney, Marcus, they're younger. They're sort of more into following their own thing, maybe feeding their egos, striving for greatness. I think Richie and Tina are much more practical people.
When I watched The Bear season 3, I couldn't imagine the actors and the production living the same as the restaurant. They're worried about reviews and giving a best experience to the diners. And I wanted to ask you how the productions and the actors work through giving the best experience for the people at home watching The Bear, and the reviews. How do you deal with those?
I mean, I don't think we really pay attention too much to reviews. I think we just really focus on trying to make the most honest representation of what this show would be as we can, and to sort of honor these characters, give voices to these fictional characters, and fight for them, and just do something that feels honest.
And in the series, we have this theme of people going to restaurants to feel cared for. And the question begins with who cares for the people working in there. And cousin Richie, your character, seems to have a big job in there. Sugar is the main caretaker for the people. Yeah. But Richie is learning to adapt and care for them. So how do you think we will see Richie go there and care for people?
I think that's a great question. I think in the second season he becomes aware of that, even the ability to care for people in a way. Even though he's got such a big heart, this character, and so much loyalty and so much love, that when we find him at the beginning of the series, having lost his best friend, having lost his marriage, not seeing his daughter a lot, when you feel so deeply, I think he's gone into such a dark place, and he's rediscovering perhaps his own power to take care of other people, to learn. When you've been hurt, it takes a little while to feel like in a place to risk that, to put your heart out there again. So I think that's in many ways one of the main sort of evolutions of this character.
And talking about evolutions of Richie, everybody saw season 2 Forks episode, and after that a lot of people thought Richie was going to be a newfound experience of professional growth, and we've seen it, but the personal growth is slower.
Yeah, I mean, I think that this was really smart of the writers. I mean, it's not a fairy tale. It's not some kind of a Cinderella thing where all of a sudden he puts on like a suit and then becomes like a different person. That's not how life is. Change is harder and kind of more glacial or slow or back and forth. It's hard. It can be like an everyday thing. It can be an everyday sort of struggle. So I think that was really smart of the writers, and certainly felt right to me as the guy portraying Richie, because it's one thing to have an awareness of where you want to go. It's like another thing to like get there, and know like what kind of water you have to cross or what kind of force you have to go to get to where you want to be.
People really found interest in the way he manages his Tiffany remarrying, right?
Yeah.
What can we expect of the relations Richie is living there, especially his loving relations?
Well, I think his relationship with Tiffany is really complicated. It seems like if he could have his way, he would still try to put the family back together. It's not a very contentious relationship, though. There's a lot of love between them still, but she's had to sort of separate herself from him, or he was in crisis and maybe not available to be a good husband or a good father. So I feel like it's a complicated and honest portrayal of a kind of a relationship, of people trying to be close and trying to take care of each other despite sort of maybe things that have happened that have made that hard.
There's a scene that made me laugh a lot when Richie discovers the pleasures of fine dining, but talks about a Michelin star. But he doesn't really like these medals, you know?
Yeah, he says he's a Pirelli guy, but he thinks that
Pirelli.
Goodyear tires are probably better for the harsh Chicago winters, which makes sense to me. Yeah, I think he's probably has a fairly cynical attitude about fine dining and the world of like gastromolecular kind of stuff. But I think what attracts him to that world is the desire to take care of the clients and the people in there, and to sort of envelop them in love and hug, and sort of for that 2 hours, 3 hours that they're in your care, to sort of to be there for them and to hold them in a way. I think that really appeals to him.